Let's talk about the roof. I filmed most of the roof install with the camera on the tripod, and it seems to be I just had the worst luck yesterday with my cameras because it's sitting on the tripod. I go to check the time and realize that the phone won't go into camera mode because it overheated sitting out in the hot sun. It was like 100 and something degrees here in Texas yesterday. I'm in East Texas at the ranch, of course. So a little bit of review on the install process itself. There's two phases to installing the roof. One is putting the seal kit in place. There's basically a foam seal that goes all the way around the entire roof. And there's even a seal that goes in between the two pieces. There's a back piece and a front piece, and there's a seal that goes in between the two, so when you put them together it makes a watertight seal, which is nice. There's not very many screws that hold this thing together. There's 8 that go along the middle. So once you get the rear piece installed, the rear piece installs by just setting in place, tilting at an angle, getting these to hook around this B-pillar top bar. And then you've got 4 screws in the back that hold it into place on the C-pillar top rail. You can see it coming through there. So that puts the rear in place. And then you've got the front. You get the front where these hook into this A-pillar bar, and you push it back as hard as you can because it takes some gusto to get it into position, especially if you're by yourself. That's one thing I might note is if you've got a buddy, use a buddy to help you install this thing. Same thing with the windshield. But anyway, and then you've got 4 on this side, 4 nuts, and then you got 4 on the other side, and then there's a bolt on this side and same one on the other side, and that's it. Then you're installed. So real simple roof, nothing fancy about it, but it's a great design. It's a good tight fitment. I've been driving around. It doesn't make any noise, no squeaks, nothing. So the seal kit works good for sound dampening and keeping the elements out. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to walk us through the install process and give my feedback on what I think about this windshield. So the install process is pretty simple. It's not complicated, with one caveat. I installed the roof first, and let me just tell you, if you're going to install a windshield after you've installed a roof, take your roof off. Really all you have to do if it's this roof is take this front piece off. But take the roof off. To install these hinges up at the top, you have to be able to get to the Torx bit that's on the top of them, and it's impossible with this roof on. I mean, I messed with it forever. Maybe it's in the video. I messed with it forever, couldn't get it. Decided to finally take the roof off. And the reason I didn't want to take the roof off is it's kind of a booger. You know, if you're by yourself, you don't have any help to get it slid all the way in and cinched up well. Nevertheless, took the roof off, and then it was so easy, of course, then to install the windshield. The first step of the whole thing, whether it's the roof or the windshield, is to do the prep, and they both come with these seal kits, and it's a bunch of rubber gaskets and things of that nature. The roof kit actually, or this windshield kit actually comes with some caulk. If you can tell that this A-pillar seam is filled with caulk, and all that, I guess, prevents water from running into the cab and keeps you dry. So there's all these little seals, these little rubber seals. You can kind of see it poking out right there, and there's a bunch under this corner of the windshield. That's the first step. It's pretty self-explanatory. That part's easy. Then you get into the install itself. The first thing that they have you install is this little, what do you call this thing? It's what this clips onto, obviously. So you install those on each side, and then you install the mounts. You install one first. It doesn't matter which side you do. You install one first, leave it loose, and then hold the window up. It slides into place, and then you come on to the other side and put the bracket onto the I can't think of what it's called. It's basically the same piece as that little gold thing I was showing earlier, but you slide it into place and then you attach it. It's 2 bolts that go in to this bracket from the top. They're Torx bits, and then you got your 1/2 inch nuts on the back side, lock nuts on the back side. So that's pretty easy. Then you hold the window up and you put the hydraulic arm in place. And so you get one locked in. Install the top one first, lift, and then install, clip in the bottom one. Then you do the other side. At this point, the window will hold itself open. And the last thing to install is the bracket that goes into the dash. You pull these 2 tabs out, these 2 rivets, plastic rivets out, and then this whole cup holder thing just slides backwards. There's a gold plate that installs underneath the dash. So alignment is key. You want to make sure that thing's centered. There's holes that are in the frame rail under the dash that it attaches to. And then you drill out this bracket that comes with the kit already has the 3 holes in it, but you drill through the holes through the dash so that these studs are these bolts are going into the mounting bracket that you installed. So it's very, 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 very secure. Okay, so now let's talk about how I feel about the windshield. I drove around yesterday evening with it, drove around a little bit this morning. What do I think about it? Well, it's a quality accessory for sure. I got the glass version. Really glad I got the glass version. It's not going to get scratched. I've got some ideas for videos where maybe I'll put some Rain-X on this one side and see how that fares versus no Rain-X. We've also got a Can-Am that has windshield wipers on it, and so we'll be able to compare, you know, Rain-X versus windshield wipers. Is it worth it? But anyway, the accessory itself is really high quality. Not denying that. The fitment is really good. I like that a whole lot. Here's a critique that I have. And it has to do with the positioning. Now, I bought this windshield because it's got the 3 position option, if you will. And the 3 positions are completely closed. So we got it completely closed, it's sealed, nothing can get in. Water can't get in, air can't get through it. Then you got the second position that I just had it set in. Okay, so that leaves a little bit of a gap. And then you've got the total open position. All right, okay. Closed position and open position, good, perfect, exactly what you would expect. It's this middle position where the window's essentially cracked open that is one sort of so-so critique that I have. Now, I've been riding around in our Can-Am for months now, and it's got the same style windshield, 3-position glass windshield. But when you leave it cracked open in this position, the window is more like this. So it's about twice as far open as how this windshield is in its cracked open position. Now, you could say, well, that's just splitting hairs, but it makes a difference when you're out riding around. The way that this is cracked open right now, you barely get any sort of draft through. Now, I'm not looking for a windstorm to come through the thing. That's what you get when you've got it wide open. On a hot day, you can open this thing all the way up and you got good airflow, keeps you cool. But let's say it's a little cooler, but you still want a little bit of draft coming through, because draft helps keep the dust down. And so in this position, I mean, you can see that it's like barely off the hood, and the wind's just going to roll right up it. Whereas if it was open a couple more inches, we're going to catch some more air and it'd come through the cab a little more ideally. I'm jumping the gun a bit, and maybe it's wishful thinking, but I want to see if somebody out there has a 3D printer or something, and we can design a mounting bracket that moves this position forward a couple of inches. Maybe you can't because it's crowded right here. So then another option would be to put an extension on this that comes back a couple of inches. We get a longer bolt that goes through it. We should be able to unscrew that and be able to put this window in a fourth position, if you will. If not, just replace this entirely and make this middle position, like I said, about 3 inches farther forward so that we get a better draft out of it. Other than that, like I said, I really like the windshield. I'm happy with the purchase. It's not as good as the windshield on the Can-Am, but it's what is available. It's the best one available, and so it's what we'll deal with. We'll see if we can make that adapter on the handle, like I said, to change the position. That'd be something fun. So if you're a engineer, creator type out there, and you've got a 3D printer and you got some ideas, I love a good project and a good invention. So leave a comment or shoot me a message, send me an email. We'll see if we can figure something out. So that'll wrap up our windshield install. If you're thinking about getting a windshield, go for the glass one. Don't get the plastic one. All right, and next we're going to take a look at the rear window. It's unbelievable how easy this rear windshield install is. I'm going to go get my tripod real quick and I'll show you. I'll take it off and put it back on. All right, check this out. Ta-da! And now for the reinstall. There you go, rear windshield uninstalled and reinstalled. The way that it mounts, it's got two little feet that grab onto the rear C-pillar rail of the buggy on both sides. You just hook those over on the bottom and then push in the top, and then these are laid sideways. And so what I was reaching around and doing, I'll show you how it works. So you push it in, push the window in to place, and then you're just rolling these up. Now they're pretty tight, which is good. That's what you want. So it makes a good seal. Really easy. So same as the front windshield, this windshield is the glass version. I feel it's better quality. Dealt with those plastic polycarbonate windshields before, and they just get scratched up and hazy, and you can't see through them, you can't clean them. It's miserable. In fact, when you clean them and they're dirty, it just gets worse. So really glad to have this one. Super quality unit. The gaskets around it are good. I love how firmly it sits in place. It doesn't make any squeaking, any sounds like that. So why have a rear windshield at all? In my opinion, it serves two purposes. I got the Crew Ranger because we've always got multiple people and lots of gear that we're carrying around. So having the second row of seats is important for hosting people, bringing people around the property as we go fishing, whatever it is that we're doing. We need the extra seats. And sometimes it's raining. So the rear windshield keeps the backs, keeps the people in the back of the buggy dry and out of the elements, more or less. Of course, the thing doesn't have doors on it, but who wants rain and whatnot dripping down their backs? Without the doors, we're okay. That's just a trade-off of having a UTV. So with this, though, it's an easy accessory to add to keep people in the back out of the elements. The second reason is that the rear windshield helps on dust control in the cab when you're riding on, when it's dry and you're on a really dirty, dusty road. Now, it doesn't get rid of the dust completely, but it does help. So let's say that we're riding and we've got the windshield closed, or we've got the windshield in this position, but especially closed. And let's say we didn't have the rear windshield. Well, what happens is the front windshield creates a negative space, and it basically sucks the dust into the cab. I mean, it's miserable. You're riding around in the cab. If you got a water or something, you just get covered in dust. So when you complement the front windshield, however, with the rear windshield, it helps fix some of the physics, however all that works, where it's not pulling as much dust into the cab as if you didn't have the rear windshield. Again, you can't make it go away completely. You know, we're not riding around in a full cab, so you can't go, it's not going to go away completely, but it definitely helps. The other thing to do would be add doors to the machine, and we might do that down the road, but for right now we don't have doors, and so we're going to roll without them. So there you go. There's my review on the rear windshield. You should get one. Again, get glass. Get this ProFit Lock Ranger system, whatever one it is. It's the Polaris branded one that you get off the Polaris website. Really quality unit. It's worth the money. Well, there we have it. We've got the new Ranger. We've got the roof installed. We've got the windshield installed in the front. We've got the windshield installed in the back, and she's ready to rock.